Hi, it's Dr. Parikh, and we have to talk about fall's book requirements, specifically the APA manual. I just found out last week that APA is coming out with a new edition this fall, which is a little frustrating for me because I don't want you to buy something that's immediately going to be outdated. So here I'm showing you the website that has everything I know about the current or the upcoming manual. They're calling it 2020, but it's coming out in October. For my online students, that's tricky because the course could be over by then. And so I want you to have something during the course. But again, I don't want you to buy something, spend 20 or 30 bucks on something that's immediately going to be outdated. For in-class students, I think you can probably just wait until October to buy it. The syllabus, you may have to find a way to do some readings before then. But in class, I don't think you should buy the 6th edition. I'm going to see if I can have the bookstore add it, because I know some students really need to buy through the bookstore. I'm going to do a few things, but I wanted to get this message out to you as quickly as possible before you bought your books. So 7th edition, a few nice things. It's going to be tabbed. It's going to be color. I think they're really trying to make it more user-friendly. I highly recommend getting a spiral-bound copy because it lays flat on the table. It's so much easier to use, but it's also more expensive than the current format. I think, I don't think they're just jacking up the price to mess with you. I think genuinely getting the color printing and the tabbing is going to be helpful, and that just is more expensive. This is all I know about it. I'm going to see if I can do a little more digging, but literally all I know that I just found out like weeks before classes start. They're changing the end punctuation, so one space after a period. I never did the 2 spaces thing anyway. They're going to give more examples. That's great. One of the big changes is part of avoiding bias is allowing you to use a singular they. So some of my older videos with the Supin book are going to say, never use they for an individual and don't use he or she, so it's best to just go plural. I'm going to wait to see what writing standards are because I'm not just preparing you for what I think the world should be. I'm trying to prepare you for what your future employers and professors and graduate programs are going to expect. So I'm going to check to see if everybody's going to just say, okay, we'll just use singular they for everything, or if this is more if, it's okay if that's how an individual identifies, their gender, if that's their preferred pronoun. I'm not sure which way it's going to go yet. They're saying guidelines that support accessibility for all users, including simplified reference, in-text citation, and heading formats, additional font options. I don't know what any of this means, so this is tough. I think as far as actual grading and templates go, we're just going to stick with what we've got for now. But again, for people who are taking the full 15-week session, I will get this in my hands during class, and I will do my best to prep you for that. I think a lot of it's been 13, 14 years since the last one, so it's not crazy that they're letting this out. And I'm not mad at them. I'm a little mad at them for doing it mid-semester, but I also understand if they tell you too early, hey, we're going to update it, then everybody just kind of freezes for a while. So I'm a little annoyed, but I'm particularly protective of you guys. So I will try to contact the library and have at least one copy of the book for class on hold. I also have a copy in my office. I don't lend it out because I want to make sure it's always there for whoever needs it, but you can come visit it in my office anytime I have office hours, and you can also try to arrange other times to come visit it in my office. I know the psych department has several copies of, for class I require the concise rules because I think it's a little less overwhelming. I don't know if they're going to come out with concise rules for this or not, so I'll have to figure out what I'm going to require in the future. But there's also a full version of the manual, and I know the psych department has a lot of copies of those, so I may try to figure out what the page number equivalents are, so that you could just go, because they have, I think 5 or 6 of them. So that's enough. Even if a bunch of you rushed all at once, you could potentially borrow them. So I'll check and figure out if you can have kind of visiting hours where you can just, again, I don't know that you can take it out and walk away with it because we want to make sure it's there when people need them. But I would guess that I can set up some opportunities for you to visit them. If you do decide that you want to get the concise rules for the semester, especially if you're an online student, you don't want to have the hassle of coming to campus, yada, yada, I recommend renting it if at all possible. You could check also to rent for an ebook. I know I have a copy of it on my Kindle too. So I would definitely look for ways to get cheaper copies. You might even be able to find some pretty cheap used copies available now, but I don't know that people are going to start selling now. They're probably going to wait until they get the new one in their hands. Another thing just to warn you about, I know last time the APA came out with a new edition, the first one had a bunch of typos, the first printing. So if you can wait for a second printing, there may be some advantages. I'm going to try to get one in the first printing just because I want to get as much of the information into this class as I can. I'll also probably make a video. I mean, there's going to be lots of resources going through these differences. Purdue OWL will probably do stuff. I know they actually found some of the mistakes, some of the typos and inconsistencies last time. APA may well make a nice little video that walks through some of the more specific rules. But I will try to make an updated video, and I may even have Dr. Ling send it out on the listserv so that everybody gets it. So just heads up, this change is coming. I do not recommend, it says, I don't know that I can go back and change what I want you to do with the book as far as the bookstore goes. So it says that it's a required book, but I would say rent it. Rent it. Maybe even see if you can just share with someone else for a bit, or borrow, rely on the library, me, and the psych department. Sorry that it's a little rambly, but I am full of anxiety with something new, and I wish I could protect you more, but I'm doing my best. If this is your first contact with me, I'm Dr. Parikh. I teach writing and psych. I love teaching writing and psych. I have you buy several books. None of them are too terribly expensive. Well, I guess I only require 2 now, and then you can also, if you want, do the workbook for extra credit. There's an APA style workbook, and I have no idea what's happening with that now that APA style is updating. So I am a little overwhelmed with all of those changes, but I always I have high expectations. When I put a book on the syllabus, I expect you to figure out how to access it. That doesn't always mean buy it. I do my best to make it available through the library and or through office hours. And I respect your money. I expect you to spend it sometimes or make other arrangements, but I also try really hard not to make you waste it. So you will be hearing more from me in the future. Take care, enjoy the last little bits of summer, and I will see you either in person or online soon.